The first time I heard the alien princess scream, every diplomat in the chamber looked away, because the sound wasn't pain. It was rejection. The Hall of Concord hovered above the violet clouds of Carthus Prime, a cathedral of glass and gravity fields where entire civilizations decided the fates of stars. I stood at the very edge of it, a human observer with no vote, no power, and, according to most of the room, no business being there. In the center platform knelt Princess Valeth of the Lyrian Ascendancy, blind, her lower body supported by a biomechanical cradle. Neural filaments traced her temples where eyes should have been. She was royalty born into perfection, and yet she was considered broken. And one by one, every species refused to bond with her. But that was only the beginning. The Lyrian believed survival came from bonding. Two minds permanently linked, sharing perception, emotion, and intent. A ruler without a bond was a ruler without legitimacy. And a princess without a bond was a liability. Valetha's blindness came from a stellar radiation storm before her birth. Her damaged nervous system made bonding unpredictable, dangerous. At least that's what the analysts claimed. So the first candidate stepped forward. A crystalline Threxian noble. He extended his psionic lattice toward her mind. Valeth reached out, trembling. Then the Threxian recoiled as if burned. Instability detected, he declared coldly. Her mind fractures under resonance. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Another candidate tried. Then another. Neural probes failed. Empathic links collapsed. One species severed the attempt so violently that Valeth cried out and collapsed against her restraints. Each refusal was public, ritualized, brutal. And with every rejection, the chamber grew quieter. What I saw next changed everything. I wasn't supposed to feel anything. Humans weren't even a bonded species. We were classified as emotionally volatile, cognitively isolated. Good for war. Bad for intimacy. But when Valeth lifted her face, sightless eyes turned toward nothing and whispered, "Please." Something inside me broke. Her attendants tried to guide her back. The Chancellor of Carthus began formal proceedings to declare her unbondable. That was when I stepped forward. The entire hall froze. A human had entered the circle. Gasps echoed. Security drones hummed. The Chancellor's voice sharpened. "Observer Elias Grant, you are out of protocol." I didn't stop walking. "I know," I said. My heart was hammering. But so is this. I stood before her, close enough to hear her breathing, close enough to feel the subtle vibration of the cradle supporting her useless legs. Valeth turned her head slightly. "Another refusal?" she asked softly. "No," I said. "A question." The chamber erupted in outrage, but I ignored it. "Do you want to be bonded?" I asked. "Or do you want to be seen?" Silence fell like a blade. None of us were prepared for the truth. Her mind brushed mine. There was no ritual, no technology, just a whisper of presence, fragile and terrified. The Lyrian gasped as energy readings spiked, then flattened. No overload, no collapse. Instead, something else happened. I felt her fear. Raw, constant. The terror of living in darkness while the entire galaxy watched and judged. The pain of being royalty yet powerless. Of being spoken about like an object. And she felt me. My memories of Earth. Of loss. Of hospitals and prosthetics and learning to live with what never healed right. She felt my anger at a universe that equated worth with perfection. The bond didn't explode. It stabilized. "What is happening?" someone whispered. I smiled through tears. "We're listening." But that was only the beginning. The council tried to stop it. They cited safety, compatibility, law. Valetha's voice rose stronger now. "For the first time," she said, "I am not alone in the dark." That should have ended it. Instead, it triggered panic. Because the monitors showed something impossible. Our bond wasn't one way. She was amplifying me. Human emotional resilience, normally chaotic, unpredictable, was reinforcing her fractured neural pathways. My mind didn't fracture under her instability. It absorbed it, balanced it. A human trait long considered a weakness was saving her. The ascendancy recoiled. If humans could bond with unbondable royals, then their entire hierarchy was built on a lie. So they did what frightened empires always do. They tried to erase the evidence. They called it a medical emergency. They tried to sever the bond. The moment the disconnect initiated, Valeth screamed. Not in pain but in terror. And I felt it too. Security fields snapped up. Technicians rushed in. The Chancellor's voice boomed, ordering separation, for the stability of the realm. My knees buckled as the bond strained. I tasted copper. Saw stars. Then Valeth did something no one expected. She stood. The cradle disengaged with a hiss. Metal limbs locked then unlocked. She staggered, then steadied herself using my shoulder. A blind, disabled princess stood before the galaxy, supported by a human. I was told, she said, her voice carrying through every translator, that I was broken. Energy rippled through the chamber as her latent psionic field surged, controlled, focused, amplified by our bond. I was told I was unworthy to rule. She turned her face toward the council dais, though she could not see it. But I see you now. What happened next rewrote history. Valeth projected. Not images, truth. Every council member felt her life. The surgeries, the whispers, the isolation, the quiet decisions made without her consent for her own good. And then they felt me. A human soldier who lost a leg on a forgotten colony war. A man deemed expendable, repaired just enough to be useful. A species told again and again that we were too emotional to matter. Our pain braided together into something stronger. Hope. When the projection ended, several alien dignitaries were weeping. Others looked terrified. The Chancellor slumped back, his authority unraveling. You cannot rule, he whispered. This bond, it changes everything. Valeth nodded. Yes, she said calmly. It does. She faced me then, sightless eyes somehow warm. Elias Grant, she said. Will you stand with me? I didn't hesitate. I already am. But the final test was still coming. The ascendancy challenged her claim. A trial of sovereignty. Ancient. Ruthless. Designed to expose weakness. If she failed, she would be stripped of title, and our bond would be forcibly terminated. The chamber transformed into an arena of light and memory. Valeth was placed at the center. I was bound beside her, unable to intervene physically. They attacked her mind. Illusions. Doubts. Echoes of every rejection she had ever endured. I felt her falter. So I did the only thing I could. I remembered. I remembered crawling through smoke. Learning to walk again. Choosing to live when it hurt to breathe. I opened every scar to her. She straightened. Your weapons are fear, she said to the tribunal. Mine is choice. She embraced her blindness, her disability, her bond, and the trial systems failed, because they had never been designed to test someone who refused to break. The verdict was unanimous. Princess Valeth was declared sovereign, the first bonded ruler with a human, the first ruler to redefine strength. When the hall finally emptied, she stood beside me on the observation deck, stars stretching endlessly before us. I cannot see them, she said quietly. I took her hand. I can describe them. She smiled. No, she said. I see them through you. I realized then that the galaxy hadn't changed because of technology or power. It changed because one broken species recognized another, and chose not to look away. The last thing she said before the stars carried our reflection across the void stayed with me forever. They rejected me because I was imperfect, she whispered. You stayed because I was real.